Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the SmartyPlants podcast. So happy you found us. So happy you're tuning in and listening. Today, we have a great episode. So good that we had to break it into 2 episodes because we just had so much to say about it. We are talking about weight loss. And people are really interested in this because I feel like we all struggle with this. Okay, not all of us, but many people, especially as you get older, it just becomes more of a challenge. We wanted to create a show to help you learn about weight loss. And if you want to speed weight loss up a little bit, we give you lots of pointers on that. We talk about what it means to be overweight and obese. We talk about fad diets and how they are not sustainable and never really lead to keeping the weight off. We talk about how you can eat more and still lose weight and how weight loss is all about calories in and calories out. And it really just comes down to simple math. Not that it's that easy, but it really does. So there's a lot that we discuss, but remember, we have a second episode. So we kind of just pick up where we left off next week. So I hope you enjoy it and let's get into it. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, I was just watching a blue jay outside in my yard. They're so pretty. They hop. I mean, I guess do all birds hop? Maybe they all hop.
Probably.
On the ground, but they have like a distinct hop. It's so cute. It's like a big hop. We're like, I don't know. I guess they all hop. Yeah. I can't really picture them moving their legs and walking.
No, I'm sure they do to some degree.
I swear they just look like they're totally hopping. Like if you think of a chicken, doesn't it walk? I think like ground birds would walk. I think robins might walk.
They strut.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
Do chickens strut?
Do they walk, hop, or strut their stuff? I'm super into this though. I mean, we put out the Oriole feeder and I just can't explain how like you put the food out and they come. It's still just so shocking to me. So we bought a feeder. I don't know if I told you this. So it's like they like oranges and grape jelly. So Frank bought this arm that attaches.
Who figured that out? Bananas, nope. Grapes, oranges. Hey, they like those oranges. You know what we should do next is the jellies. Grape jelly.
Raspberry jelly? No.
How many? Yeah, right. Like how many jellies? The peach preserves. Aunt Linda's orange marmalade.
Well, that's what's funny. It's like, well, is that natural? You're feeding the birds grape jelly, but we can't get the jelly with high fructose corn syrup, just like us. They like pure grape jelly, just grapes. So you have to get organic, just grape. And there's sugar added to it, but it's cane sugar. So it's not the high fructose corn syrup. Mm-hmm. That would kill them instantly. Not good for their sugar levels.
Grape jelly.
That's
odd.
Yeah. And so it comes with like this place for these little orange slices, and then, chunks, like half an orange, and then little cups for the jelly. And then they just come down. They get a little jelly, they get a little orange. I mean, it's like so cute. Do you know what they look like?
Blue jays?
No, this is for the Orioles, Baltimore Orioles. Yeah.
Well, I've seen it on the baseball jersey.
Yes. Well,
I'm sure I've seen them. I don't know if I've seen them in the wild, like I'm sure I've seen pictures of them.
So they're bright orange and they have like these black heads. So they're dark black heads and a bright orange body. They almost blend into the orange that you put out there. It's so cool. Yes. No, blue jays like peanuts. Whole peanuts in the shell.
But just Fisher nuts.
Yes, right? Planters peanuts.
Planters.
Well, so the first like excitement I got when Uncle Bill hung my all those bird feeders in my backyard at my old house was the goldfinches. So Cassandra told me, my friend Cassandra, she said, put thistle in a thistle feeder because it's special because they're really tiny. So you have to get a special feeder and the goldfinches will come. And they came, these tiny little bright yellow goldfinches, and they're flocking to this thing. Well, not flocking, but 3 sometimes or 4 on it at once. And it was so exciting. I'm like, oh gosh, if you hang it, they do come. So then we started getting I don't even know if you would know what these look like, rose-breasted grosbeaks.
Not offhand.
See, I'm like super into it now. And that's to me is like a common sighting now, but not in this house. At the old house, when I hung whatever it is, the black oiled sunflowers.
Jeez, man, oh man, you like that must designate a day to pick up bird stuff for the birds to eat.
Do I sound like Uncle Bill? Anyway, they're like have a red breast. They have the pointy the pointy beak that goes down, and then they're white with the black. Oh my God, they're so pretty. And they came, and it's like now we're seeing nuthatches, and we see woodpeckers in the backyard. I mean, we got so many, but this was the most exciting was this Baltimore Orioles because it actually worked. We never hung them last year. We hung them this year, and they're here. So
Right.
I know when I go out and take my little dose of sun in my break, now that it's nice out, I grab my bins, which Uncle calls binoculars. Frank's like, give me the bins, give me the bins.
Good God.
We're totally into it. I know. So I went and sat out there and I saw a blue jay. It was the first time, so I was really excited.
Very good.
Yeah. So today we're talking about weight loss. Everybody seems to want to lose some weight. Most people seem to want to lose a few pounds, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I know at least 50% of the people in this conversation do.
I would say 100%. Anyone I talk to seems to want to do this, especially when summer's upon us and, we're pulling out those shorts again. And, we've all been hibernating all winter in our baggy clothes.
And when you're bigger, it's also you're always trying to kind of catch up. Yeah, I feel better than I used to, but I feel worse than I could. It's always like, well, with 10 extra pounds, but when I get down 10, then it's like, well, if I got down 10 more, I'd feel even better, right? Like, I mean, at some point you'd have to stop and say, well, I'm pretty much where I want to be. And I know some people that don't want to lose weight, don't have to lose weight, but in the end, you're always kind of chasing that, you're always feeling like there's always something better.
This happens to me if I go on vacation. I feel like I gained a couple of pounds or, like I said, over the winter, you might have put on a few pounds. Now putting on your summer shorts, they're a little bit tight. That's in my case. It just happens, I never get too far over like a few pounds. It's just naturally how I eat and how I am. I just never have. So that's my thing. It's like, I just want to fit into my summer clothes again. So then I have to watch it a little bit. But unfortunately, this weight issue has become a really big problem in our country. It's a problem. And we talked about this in, I think it was episode 3 of the podcast, Standard American Diet. 70% of Americans who are over 20 years old are either overweight or obese. 42% of us are obese. And this is the highest rate of obesity ever recorded. So that means only like 30% of us are at a healthy weight.
Yeah, those are pretty staggering numbers. And I mean, if you look overall, and I always try to think like what was being done before. So just in my perspective, like when we were kids, there wasn't sitting around on phone, it's like we were out doing things, Don't get me wrong. I mean, we grew up when computers were coming of age and there were video games and stuff. But I even remember mom being like, all right, you're done with the computers for today. Go outside. It's like, don't come back for hours. So I just think there was a lot more, seemed like more social riding of bikes and skateboarding and roller skating and just a lot more activity, getting around town and stuff, and just not a lot of sitting around binge watching shows and all that kind of, like, we didn't do that. You missed the show, you never saw it again.
I know, like I was talking to Star the other day and it's like she was so shocked, like, what did you do before the internet? Because they're all on phones. How did you even? And I was like, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have phones. She's like, so like, what did you do? And I told her, we were talking about getting around. She's like, how did you get around without GPS? I said, you had to learn directions. So it's pretty bad. And one of the worst things is that obesity rates for children have tripled over the last 30 years. And this is part of what we're talking about. Mostly it's the food and everything we talked about, and the standard American diet, the way we eat. Most of the food is terrible food that people are eating. So there's no wonder that, with all this sitting around on phones, eating terrible food, the rates have tripled over the last 30 years. And I mean, they're predicting that by 2030, 50% of Americans will be obese. And I just wanted to point out why this weight loss is such a big deal to people, because most people have an issue with it. And, these children are becoming obese, and they're starting to see adult conditions like high cholesterol and high blood pressure in children. Unfortunately, these children just pick up their parents' eating habits. So we need to start with us, and pass this on to our kids, because they're going to eat like we do. And we already learned this too. Family eating habits. We're passing down all of the things that we're getting to our children because they're eating the same food.
Sometimes, a lot of that is parents are unaware that some of the stuff they think is healthy that you're giving kids, even in our own, looking back, and I've mentioned this before, where it's like, yeah, mom used to limit my sweets intake to 3 cookies after dinner, but I'd be pounding down breaded steak with cheese and mashed potatoes with butter and gravy and, all that stuff. And it's just like,
that was food.
Well, it was homemade, it wasn't like, well, this isn't junk food. This is just dinner on Sunday. And I'd have 4 helpings. And it's just like, well, but only 3 cookies, we're limiting your sweets. We don't want you to get heavy, so it's like, you're really unaware. And just in general, even now I talk to people, they're like, well, I just don't eat a lot of red meat. I eat a lot of fish and turkey and, white meat, pork and, things like that. Light butter, 1% milk or skim milk, it's just like, that's all part of the problem. It's like saying, well, I smoke Marlboro Lights, it's like, well, or whatever, light cigarettes. You're still smoking cigarettes, it's still not good in general for, what
right.
for your body.
And I used to do those things. I always did those things right before I went plant-based. I mean, my whole life, pretty much, in my whole adult life, I bought the butter that wasn't quite butter. It was still dairy. I did all the skim milk, the turkey, turkey bacon. I mean, all that stuff. And none of it was healthy if you think about what you're eating, which I didn't seem to even think about. It was all about the calories or the fat. I didn't know what to focus on. Do I focus on calories or fat? All I wanted was to be slimmer, and that's all it was about. And then it got to be more about my health, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And I think, yeah, that's part of the problem today. It's very confusing. None of that is getting you healthy. None of that stuff is making you trim up. It's just all marketed to make you think that way.
And most of it, or a lot of that, I should say, was like fad diets. It's like, hey, you're looking to lose weight. And that's pretty much all it was, like you could lose weight by eating this way. You can lose weight by doing this. And a lot, even like that keto diet, yeah, people do lose weight, and it's creating such an unhealthy environment in their body. Is that a good trade-off that I lost 10 pounds? And it's like, oh, but what were you doing to yourself in the process? And in the long run, one, it's not sustainable, and 2, it's just so bad for you, some of these things. Even like looking back in the 80s, where people are taking diet pills and they're taking, diet candy
Slim fast.
and, slim fast drinks and things like that. It's like that stuff's not good for you. Maybe helping you lose weight, but in the end, what's the trade-off here?
But you said it, it's not sustainable. And so those are fad diets. This is the big problem. It's like, I'm going on a diet, I'm going to lose all this weight, and then I'm going to go right back to eating the way I was eating. So that's the yo-yo dieting. You'll never get to a set weight and sustain it unless you change your lifestyle, which is what we did. We eat this way because it's a lifestyle. This isn't a diet. And, that whole yo-yo dieting, yeah, get on the keto diet. You probably will lose weight. What are you doing to your insides, though? Like Phill just said, who knows? Well, I do know it's not good. You're lining your arteries, you're messing with your ketones in your body. I mean, you probably will lose weight. But is that all it's about? Is just losing weight? And then what? And then you go back to eating, oh, now I'm slim. Now I'm going to start eating my steak sandwiches again and my cheeseburgers. And guess what? That weight's coming back, and you're just not healthy on the inside. And, you're creating high blood pressure and cholesterol. And no, let's just heal our bodies and the weight will come off. So what does being overweight and obese mean? So that just means having more body fat than what is considered healthy. So people who are obese have a much higher amount of body fat than people who are overweight. So it's all measured by your BMI, which is body mass index. So this is just a formula that calculates whether people are at a healthy weight or not. So it's like, if you want to know where you stand, you can just calculate your BMI. which is really, I tried doing this and I am not a math person. It's really kind of tricky. I wanted to kind of do one for us on the podcast, but maybe my daughter could have, or Amelia could have done it. Those two are like whizzes with this stuff. But so it's your weight in kilograms divided by the square of your height in meters, if that means anything to you. So anyway, there's a quick little simple way to do it online.
What am I living in Europe? You lost me at kilograms.
I know, that's why it gets confusing. I was calculating centimeters into meters.
What is this, 1977 math class?
Somebody has to remake this BMI, make it a little easier on us. I couldn't do it. I have my scribble notes here. I couldn't do it. I tried, but anyway, I gave up because it's super easy to Google. Just type in BMI and punch in your height and your weight, and it does it for you. So anyway, whatever it is, punch in your height, punch in your weight. It measures your height compared to your weight, and it spits out your BMI. So if you're underweight, it's like 18, healthy weight is 18 to 24, overweight is 20 to 29. So anything over 30 is considered obese. It's surprising that a healthy weight is only under 24. So people who have a BMI of over 40 are considered morbidly obese. And that means all these health problems are probably going to start kicking in. And people who are morbidly obese have 7 times the risk of getting type 2 diabetes as a person who is at a healthy weight. And we talked about this because diabetes and obesity go hand in hand. The higher your weight goes up, the more your risk of diabetes goes up because they're directly related. We're talking about type 2 diabetes. And we're going to go through a whole episode on diabetes down the line and spell it all out for you because it's really simple to understand if you don't. Diabetes type 2 is a lifestyle created disease, which is not only preventable, but reversible. So how did we become overweight or obese? We eat too much and move too little. That's all it is about. If we eat lots of calories and we don't burn them off, our bodies store them as fat. And just like diabetes, as our weight goes up, so does our risk for high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, strokes, cancer, fatty liver disease, whole bunch of bad things. So we want to keep our weight at a healthy level to be healthy. So a whole food plant-based diet is not a weight loss diet or about getting skinny, but this will naturally happen when you eat this way. It's about being healthy. We don't want all these things I just listed off. We don't want this in our lives. We don't want that to happen to us. And by eating this way is really the only way, the most powerful way we can prevent that from happening. So it's not about cutting out certain foods like we were talking about, losing some weight and then going right back to your old eating habits. This is a lifestyle that we actually enjoy. And it's about eating the most nutrient dense food on the planet on a consistent basis. That means every day we're loading our bodies up with these nutrient dense foods, and then our bodies start to heal. And once your body starts to heal on the inside, the extra weight comes off on the outside. This is just what happens when you're feeding your body the right foods.
But there's something to be said for the calories you're bringing in. I mean, you could eat, I would bring it up just at various times, a bag of nuts every day, a huge, pounds of nuts. And it's like, oh, the nuts are healthy, so I can eat 2 bags of nuts. No, you could be eating 3,000 calories in a sitting, and you're not going to lose weight by eating healthy things either. And I think that's where my problem comes in too, where I'm probably consuming too much and not doing enough, to combat the volume you're eating. Now, I don't like to think of excuses or come up with stuff like that. But I know it's just like, man, with all this testing and tasting and eating and having leftovers or whatever, it just seems like a lot, that's going on. But in the end, that's another thing I think people struggle with is thinking things are healthy or knowing things that are healthy, but liking them and just eating too much of those things.
Portion.
Portion control is something I struggle with too, because when things taste good, it's like, oh yeah, I want to have a third portion, or I want to have more of this because it's healthy food and I can eat more. And in some cases I can. I mean, there are things that I can eat more of and not really worry about it, but just being aware of things that have higher calories, like nuts, like avocados, like, things like that have high fat in them.
Right. And that's the thing, like, okay, so you're putting all these good things into your body. You're not creating any damage. It's all good stuff, but they all have calories. weight loss is all about calories in and calories out. And the one thing that, to touch on what you just said, once people start exercising, like I know you're doing Supernatural, and so am I, and we're trying to burn some calories, to either lose weight or stay at our healthy weight. But it's just this phenomenon. Like when you start burning those calories, you just start to have a tendency to want to eat more because you think, oh, I just worked out and now I can eat it. Well, yes. And we're going to get into this in a minute, but like, then you're eating those calories right back up. So to lose the weight, you got to burn the calories and still not eat them right back up because it's calories in, calories out. So I'm going to go through all this, what that actually means, but it's really funny. And I'm one of these people too. I think most of us are. It's like, oh, I just did this massive Supernatural workout. I sweat and I burned all these calories. What can I eat now? So I'm not going to lose weight because I'm just going to eat them right back up and even more than what I would have eaten if I didn't do that. So that's where people get into some trouble,
Why do I know that feeling?
So when you burn more calories than you eat, you lose weight. So if you want to lose weight, you either eat less, burn more calories, or do both. And that's just how it is. That's how we're made. It's calories in, calories out. So when you eat a plant-based diet, you eat fewer calories because plant foods are just naturally lower in calories than animal-based foods or highly processed foods. They're also packed with fiber, which fills us up. So when you leave the meat, dairy, eggs, and oil off your plate, you're removing tons of fat from your diet. And this is a big reason for weight loss.
And that's, another thing that kind of, I didn't really expect, and I've told you this various times, where I feel like I'm eating more, but right now my weight has always kind of, it fluctuates for sure all the time. It has my whole life. I mean, I can be 5 pounds heavier or lighter within a day sometimes, depending on water retention, how much I'm eating, how much I'm doing or not doing.
Right.
But in the end, I always feel like I'm eating so much, and it's like my weight's not going up at all. I'm kind of plateauing, if anything. And sometimes it's going down. It's like, oh, I'm going to get on the scale, and I'm one of those people where it's like, oh, I wonder how much I weigh. Like I feel like I've gained 5 or 10 pounds in the last week or whatever it is, and I get on, and it's like I'm down a pound from last week. Like I didn't expect it, just because I feel like I'm eating more. And even when I do, I mean, I know like some days, like I said, we're testing meals and things, I know I'm eating more than I normally would because we are trying things, and I'm eating as I go, and then it's dinner time, and then I'm eating at dinner time and whatnot. But it is a nice thing where before it would be like, oh, I feel like I gained an extra 5 or 10 pounds, and it's like 12 pounds, and it's like, oh damn it, you get on the scale, it's like, wow, I gained more than I even thought. So that's one thing that has definitely changed. I mean, if I don't exercise at all, I seem to just kind of plateau. I don't, it doesn't fluctuate that much anymore, but I always feel like I'm consuming a lot more. So it's like, all right, well, I'm consuming a lot more vegetables and healthier things that are making me feel like I'm full all the time and eating a lot more. But in the end, it's not having any dramatic effects on my body like it used to when it was cheese and meat and, milk and everything.
Right.
else.
And we're going to talk about that coming up because that has all to do with calorie density, because you're eating foods that have a low calorie density now, as opposed to all those animal products that were high calorie density, like lots of calories. So you can actually eat more and still maintain, and it's like you feel like you're eating more food, but you're maintaining your weight. Why does fat matter so much? Our bodies need our 3 macronutrients to function properly: carbohydrates, protein, and fat. That's what we consume. We need this for energy, and that's measured in the form of calories. So everything's broken down into calories. So fat has more than double the calories of protein or carbohydrates. There's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat, and there's only 4 in the other 2. So there's lots of calories that come with fat. So animal foods contain lots of fat. Plant foods contain very little fats. So our healthy fats, which Phill was just talking about, are avocados, nuts, and seeds. So our bodies do need these healthy fats, and they also give us fiber, vitamins, and nutrients. But these plant foods are higher in calories than other plant foods. So like Phill said, you don't want to just sit and munch down a bag of cashews, because even though they're good for you, and they have fiber and they have vitamins and nutrients, they also come with lots of calories because they're a high fat food, healthy fat food. So if you'd like to lose some weight and speed it up even more, just cut down on these healthy fats when you're eating a plant-based diet. So let's do some math. Like I said, I'm not a math person, but I'll try to make this very easy to comprehend. And I know it might be a little challenging. I broke it all down. So 1 pound of fat is equal to 3,500 calories. So if your goal is to lose 10 pounds, that's the equivalent of 35,000 calories, because the 1 pound, 3,500 times 10 is 35,000. So that means you will need to burn 35,000 more calories than you consume in order to lose weight. You get that, Phill?
Mm-hmm.
Is it making sense? Okay. All right. So I know that sounds like a lot of calories to burn, but we're just going to spread it out a little bit. And this math works. If you want to lose weight, it's a math problem. Okay. Calories in, calories out. So losing 2 pounds a week is considered a healthy goal. I know many of you have probably heard that. You don't want to lose weight too quickly, because if you cut out too much food, you'll be cutting out vitamins and nutrients that you need every day. And you could be tired, it might be related to hair loss, weakening your immune system. So we don't want to lose weight too quickly, because we need to be eating these calories, like we don't want to starve yourself. So to lose 2 pounds a week, the 3,500 calories, or 1 pound of fat times 2 pounds a week, is 7,000 calories per week. So you'd need to eat 7,000 less calories per week from what you're eating now to maintain your weight, or burn them off. To get to your goal of 10 pounds, which is the equivalent of 35,000 calories, divide 35,000 by 7,000 and you get 5. So it will take you 5 weeks to lose 10 pounds, the 2 pound a week deal. Okay, so what does that mean for each day? 7,000 calories per week divided by 7 days in a week equals 1,000 calories per day. So you have to eat 1,000 less calories per day, or eat 500 calories less and burn 500 calories to get to your goal. Isn't that awesome?
Math.
The math actually works.
How many kilograms is that?
Oh, God. I have no clue. Okay, so what you just have to do is to figure out where you're at right now. So how many calories are you typically eating each day to keep you at your current weight? So you have to kind of sit down and figure it out. How many calories are you eating every day? And what are you burning off from whatever you exercise each day? Which until recently was 0 for me.
Well, and that's what I like about that Oculus. It's kind of giving you an idea of what you're burning off. Like, how would I, when I go for a walk, I really don't know. I mean, I punch it in and saying like, how many calories does walking burn off? And it gives you kind of a general idea. If you walk for an hour, here's about what you can walk off. There, it's nice. I just look up and it says like, you burned off 3. I put the goal in, and it says like you hit your goal, or you burned off this many calories.
But no matter what your weight is, if you're not putting on tons of weight, like you always stay around the same weight. I always stay around the same weight. So whatever we're eating, I mean, maybe through the years we're putting on more pounds as we get older, but I'm just saying whatever we're eating, it's roughly the same amount. So we need to figure that out. If you want to lose weight, roughly what you're eating. Let's just say if you typically eat 2,500 calories a day and you want to lose 2 pounds a week, you need to eat 1,000 calories less per day. That would mean eating 1,500 calories per day. Okay, so that's how you could do it. You could take out, that extra 1,000 calories, or you could eat 500 calories less per day, but you would need to burn those 500 calories than you're currently burning if you don't do any exercise. So like you said with the Oculus, I need to set that up because I really want to know after one of my monster workouts, how many calories. I mean, I know I'm sweating. I know I feel better, but I don't know how many calories I burned off. So if I wanted to lose, let's say, 6 pounds in a month, I could probably do it if I just get my balance down,
right. Mm-hmm.
So like I said before, if you stick to a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, you will lose weight naturally. And once you're at a healthy weight, you never have to count calories again. You don't. I mean, you just don't have to if you're eating this way. Now, where the weight slips in is if you slip back into eating the vegan oils, and we'll get into all those in a minute.
Hey everyone, it's Phill. I just wanted to take a quick break in the discussion to remind everyone that SmartyPlants has 2 great meal plans to offer. The first is our 28-day kickstart, which is for people who are curious about a plant-based diet but really don't know where to begin. It's also for people who have health or weight issues and need some help getting healthy. Our program includes 28 days of carefully planned recipes that are simple to make and super tasty. Things like Caesar salad, nachos, and pizza. It also includes meal prep instructions, a grocery list, and daily lessons on things like stocking a plant-based kitchen, weight loss, and navigating social situations. You'll come out of it a plant-based rock star. If this sounds good to you, you should become one of our Kickstarters. Our second program is our weekly meal plan. This is for people who have the plant-based basics down, but they want trusted and trusted delicious recipes each week. Our members receive at least 3 new recipes each week created by our very own SmartyPlants team. Things like pesto lasagna, crunch wraps, French onion, grilled cheese, sauces, mains, sides, desserts, and more. Our meal planners have access to our full recipe database, our meal planner where they can customize their meals each week and create a grocery list, meal prep instructions, and great support, of course. Stop downloading random recipes from strangers on the internet and check out our tested and delicious recipes. If this sounds good to you, let us do the heavy lifting for you and become one of our weekly meal planners. For more info, check out our website, smartyplants.org, and use the discount code PODCAST2022. That's PODCAST 2022. You'll receive 50% off our 28-day kickstart or 50% off our weekly meal plan for up to 3 months. Now back to the show.
How do you keep track of what you're eating? Well, you just plan your meals and divvy up your calories. So we just made this little list. I mean, I know many of you know the calories because I've been counting calories since the 80s. I mean, I could tell you a banana has 80 calories. Like I just have that memorized in my brain, you just know what certain foods have. But we made this little list. Phill, you want to read them?
Sure. A cup of cauliflower, 25 calories. 1 cup of air pop popcorn, 30 calories. 1 cup of broccoli, 30 calories. Half a cup of blueberries, 40 calories. 1 tablespoon of 100% maple syrup, 50 calories. 1 whole head of lettuce, 50 calories. 1 banana, 80 calories. 1 shot of vodka, 85 calories. Half a cup of tofu, 95 calories. 1 large apple, 100 calories. 2 tablespoons of walnuts, 100 calories. 1 glass of white wine, 110 calories. 1 tablespoon of oil, 120 calories. 1 glass of red wine, 125 calories. Half a can of garbanzo beans, 150 calories. 1 beer, 150 calories. An ounce of dark chocolate, 170 calories. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, 188 calories. 1 Impossible Burger, 240 calories. And 1/3 of a cup of almonds, 273 calories.
Wow. Okay. So look at that. 1/3 of a cup of almonds is 273 calories. Now, I love almonds. What if I ate handfuls of them? Do you see how the calories can come on? I mean, Frank does buy this mixed bag. It's really good. It's just almonds, pistachios, and cashews, which are another nut with a lot of calories. Now, he will eat a couple handfuls. I will just take out 3 or 4 almonds because I know that those almonds really add up. I don't snack on almonds because at 1/3 of a cup, I mean, I could pop 1/3 in my mouth, I think.
You can eat 2 heads of cauliflower.
Exactly. And we're going to get to that because that's what I'm saying. Now, almonds are calorie dense. It means they're packed with calories. Cauliflower is a low calorie density food. It has barely any calories and you could eat 2 heads for the same amount and you'd be full. So you can plan your day with everything Phill just listed. If you want a shot of vodka, it's 85 calories. If you want a half a can of garbanzo beans, which I do on my salad, that's 150 calories. I like to add that to my salad because it fills me up. I love garbanzo beans. I love them in my salad. It's great protein and it fills me up. If I want to have a glass of wine with dinner, it's white wine, it's 110 calories. 2 tablespoons of walnuts thrown into my salad, 100 calories. That's where it kind of, you're adding it up there. A whole cup of broccoli, 30 calories. I love popcorn. Snacking on air pop popcorn, it's only 30 calories. Yeah, give me a couple of cups of that and I'm good. So you can plan how you want to divvy up your calories during the day. So like we've said, cashews are higher in calories. 1 cup of cashews is 640 calories. Now, I know this scares some people. I've seen it in our group that they fear cashews or nuts. You've heard it. They say, oh, I really want to cut down on my nuts. And I get that fear because they are high in calories, but you need to use them in a mindful way. So like, let's just take our cream of broccoli soup, for example. This is how we use our healthy fats. So we put 1 cup of cashews in the entire pot of soup. So that 1 cup, we don't just mindlessly munch down a cup of cashews. We put in a cup into the entire pot. So that's 640 calories into the pot. Here goes my math again. I hope I did this right. So there are probably 4 large servings of soup in this pot. That means a large bowl of broccoli soup is only 160 calories because the rest of the soup, all we're adding is fresh broccoli, onions, garlic, all the plant foods that have very few calories. So that's how we do it. So 160 calories for lunch for a big, nice bowl of creamy broccoli soup. Yeah, I'm going to throw in some croutons because I'm only eating 160 calories. Yeah. So other ways that we use our healthy fats. I know Phill loves this one, avocado toast.
I do love avocado toast.
Again, avocados are a higher calorie content food, but liberally, generously spread on a piece of toast, great. Don't really have to worry about, is it half? Is it a third? Is it a quarter? Guacamole on some baked chips, great. Don't eat the entire bowl. Yeah.
So one Hass avocado is about 234. So about 115 for a half. And when I do have toast, I eat a half, 1 avocado. I mean,
yeah,
I can even go under a half of an avocado. I usually use the whole half when I have 2 pieces of toast, but yeah, that's 100 calories right there.
And then you have a couple pieces of Ezekiel bread. That's a couple more 100, but that's still for breakfast. It's 300 calories. That's a great breakfast. Throw in fruit. You like to have strawberries and berries. I mean, that is a great healthy breakfast. You probably burn that off in your Oculus if you're keeping track to your calories. Yeah. And that's how we do it. You don't have to fear putting avocado on your toast if that's the way you're eating it. You don't want to peel an avocado and just eat slices as you're cooking, because that's just a lot of added calories.
And that's something that I am that I have issues with too. Is like when it's getting towards dinner time and I'm hungry, you're snacking, right? That's when you go for a third of a cup of almonds and a couple of slices of that avocado while you're cooking. And it's like, geez, before dinner even started, I put in 300 calories, just having and almonds especially. I mean, you said like, oh, I just have a couple, right? I could easily have 2 handfuls of almonds, not thinking like, oh, it was just a couple of handfuls of almonds. It was nothing. But it was just like, geez, that was probably more than the dinner we're having, just those 2 handfuls, 500 calories in almonds and a 300 calorie bowl of soup or.
So that's why you have to be mindful of it, because a third of a cup of almonds is 273 calories. So you probably are easily eating 500 calories right before dinner. That's just too much. You don't want to be snacking on almonds. You want to be, I mean, I do say a handful here or there. Yeah, you can. And I do, I have a couple because I know that they're loaded with calories and I just don't want to throw in all those calories during my day. I do love almonds though. So I will have a couple here and there. I mean, even baked tortilla chips with salsa is better.
Right. And I brought this up before, just we have like a bowl of blueberries or a bowl of strawberries just in the fridge, just right there. When you open it, they're both right there. So it's like, oh, what can I eat? It's like, I'm just going to have a handful of these blueberries. I'm going to grab a couple of these strawberries. And they're big and they fill you up and you don't think about it. But yeah, just going those nuts. I mean, if you think about it, like, hey, I'm gonna cook an Impossible burger.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna have a couple of handfuls of almonds while it's cooking. Well, you've had twice as many calories in those two handful of almonds.
You're like mom, and the dinners and the treats. You're planning for one thing, but you're sabotaging yourself with the other.
Well, and again, I'm using Impossible, but I'm not usually eating that anyway. Right. I'm just saying, I mean, that was the higher calorie thing on there on the list that I had.
Right. But vegan food, right.
But even peanut butter, that's another thing. Like my wife, she's a big, and I'm not looking to throw her under the bus or anything, but like, it's like, oh, I'm hungry. I want a snack. I'm just going to take a scoop of peanut butter and eat it off of a spoon. It's just like, that's a 200 calorie, snack that you're having before dinner. And I don't get on her; she's thin.
Right.
But in the end, I can easily be doing that too. And it's like all I had was a couple of scoops of peanut butter just to tide me over it. It's like, well, that was 400 calories right before you sat down to dinner. So you do, and I'm bad at that. I'm bad at. It's just like it seems pretty innocent enough.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just a couple of almonds. Oh, it's just a scoop of peanut butter, or it's just
Yeah.
a few slices of avocado. And it's just like, man, you're just packing on calories. And it's like, how come I can't lose weight? What am I eating? What meals am I eating bad? But you're not looking at those little things either, but throughout the day.
That is exactly it. And that's why I was saying earlier, think about what you're eating and add it all up. Because if you take a little nibble of this, a little bit of that, a little couple of handfuls of nuts, you might have a handful of the greasy popcorn. Oh, it's just a handful. That's me because it's sitting around. My daughter's eating it. I'll have a handful of it. So we have to be mindful of that. But that's the way that we use our healthy fats. And another way is in our dressings, like our Caesar dressing or our ranch dressing. We will grind up a third of a cup of these cashews, which make everything delicious and creamy, but we'll only put a little bit on our salad. We won't eat the whole thing, which only has a third of a cup of cashews in the entire jar of dressing or the entire recipe of ranch dressing. And then we're drizzling it on our salads all week. That's not a lot of nuts. And this is the way we use the nuts, mindfully like that. So we all do have to be mindful of these healthy fats, no matter what our weight is, even if it's all plant foods. But then, like I said, once you get to a healthy weight, you never really have to think about calories again. You just have to be a little bit mindful of the healthy fats, a little bit mindful of your portion size. That's about it. There's no more counting calories. Eating fewer calories does not have to mean eating less food. You can actually eat more food and take in less calories. And here's why. This is what Phill was talking about earlier. Like he finds himself, wow, he thought he's been eating a lot of food. He thought he might have gained weight. No, because it's the food that he's eating naturally has lower calories than, say, animal-based food. So talking about calorie density. Calorie density just means the number of calories that are in a certain food. If a food is calorie dense, it's jam-packed with calories. A food low in calorie density has a lot less calories in the same amount of food. So in the Kickstart, we actually have this chart, and Phill and I are looking at it right now, but you can't see it. But we made this little calorie density chart to show what 500 calories looks like, let's say in your stomach. That's our chart. It's a little stomach, and it shows all different types of food and how it fills up your stomach. So for 500 calories, we can eat lots and lots of food that is lower in calorie density, or we could eat very little food that is higher in calorie density. You can literally eat twice as much food and take in half as many calories. So 500 calories of fruits and vegetables fills up your stomach. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a stomach filled up with all these fruits and vegetables. So for 500 calories of potatoes and beans, a little bit less. It doesn't fill your stomach up quite as much. Meat, even less. Cheese, even less. Oil, think about what you're getting. 500 calories of oil, doing nothing to fill you up. 500 calories of fruits and vegetables and broccoli and cauliflower and oranges and all that, you're full. Same amount of calories. So that's what you have to play with for losing weight. You got to think about that list. Do I want 500 calories of freshly steamed broccoli with a little bit of Caesar dressing drizzled on it? Or do I want 1 tablespoon of oil on my salad? So speaking of oil, this is a huge question everybody asks us. Why no oil?
It just came up. One of our cousins texted me the other day, and they were listening to a previous podcast and said, "Why no oil?" I thought, avocado oil or olive oil. I thought that was good for you. How come I can't eat oil? So,
really? Which
yeah,
cousin?
Greg.
Oh, Greg's listening. Hi, Greg.
And Gail.
Hi, Gail. Yay, that makes me so happy.
So Judi,
Miss you guys.
Judi will go into more detail. I gave him the quick overview, via text, but we'll get into it a little bit more here.
Yeah, oil is a big one. And it's such a bummer. I get it. We ate oil our whole lives. I mean, I still have a little bit of oil here and there, but it's a bummer because it's delicious and it does really make our food flavorful. And, we cooked with it our whole lives. So I was eating oil even after I went plant-based for lots of years. And then it was after my class, my plant-based nutrition class that I took, that I learned a ton of stuff about why it's not the best thing to be eating. And I just cut it out of my diet for the most part. This was way before the website came about. And, you'll just notice, especially when it comes to weight loss, why, why it's so hard to lose weight if you're eating oil. First of all, oil is not a whole food. And I know it comes from a whole food. Let's just use olive oil, for example. Olive oil comes from olives, which are a whole food. Well, when we turn an olive into olive oil, you strip away all of its nutrients and all of its fiber, and all you're left with is fat, 100% fat. It actually takes 20 olives to make 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So all those good nutrient and fiber is just getting thrown away. And all you're left with is 100% fat. And it's a highly processed food, because think about that. I mean, how much squeezing you have to do into 20 olives to get 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And oil is super high in calories, like I said, super low in nutrients, and 0 fiber. And get this, oil is the most calorie dense food on the planet. So vegetables typically have 100 to 200 calories per pound. Fruits have 300 to 400 calories per pound. Guess how much oil has? 4,000 calories per pound. So this is just a little surprising little tidbit. A 130-pound woman would have to run 1.2 miles to burn off 1 tablespoon of oil. That just gets me. It's just like, what? Do you want to run a mile and 1.2 miles for that tablespoon of oil you just put on your salad?
And a tablespoon, I mean, right? You make a vinegar and oil dressing. You're putting in a half a cup. You're putting in 3/4 of a cup. Sometimes
Right.
you're
Who
not drinking
stops at
all of
1
that.
tablespoon?
Right? Yeah, you're probably getting a lot more than 1 tablespoon. But yeah, when those kind of numbers, when you realize those kind of numbers, that's where it gets to me, where it's just like, would I rather have this and run a mile just to break even, or would I just rather have something else that's equally delicious and I don't have to worry about it?
Exactly. And it adds up so quickly. It's just crazy. I mean, you don't think about it, but think about that the next time you grab the olive oil to douse your salad with. I used to do that all the time, and it's just like, think about that. All those calories you're just putting on for no reason, because we can make things taste good without it. Another thing about oil, all oils damages our endothelial cells. And these are the cells that line our arteries. We want them nice and healthy. But oil, any type of oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, canola oil, olive oil, it all damages our endothelial cells, and it makes our arteries narrow. And they've actually done studies. I saw this in my class. Within hours of ingesting oil, any type of oil, your arteries narrow. And that means their ability to dilate is not functioning properly. So what does that mean? Well, dilating just means they're open. So our arteries need to be open for blood to flow through. They need to be nice and clear and open and wide, and our blood goes in and out. But like I said, within hours of ingesting oil, they start to narrow because those endothelial cells are being damaged. And we don't want that. And what happens is this adds up over the years. We're doing damage and more damage. And right away, no, you don't notice it in your 20s, probably not in your 30s, probably not even in your 40s, but then maybe you're creeping into your 50s. And all this damage we've been doing, little bit here, a pizza here, French fries there, potato chips there, meatballs, sausage, all these are adding on, adding on, adding on.
I fear we're almost, it seems like it's getting fast tracked now, just because the volume of stuff that has oil in it, prepackaged foods, and I take my son as an example. He'll eat like a bag of fettuccine Alfredo, and then he'll crush flaming hot Cheetos and sprinkle it on top. And it's just like, oh, it was just so bad, and you're just making it so worse. But it's constant. And I know I just talked to someone the other day who said, hey, when I was in college, I lived on fried chicken and pizza. That's all I ate every day. So imagine that, just consuming fried chicken every day, pizza all that fat and grease and oil. And it's like, oh my God. And just, so I just think we're just, so I look back and it's like, okay, at the time, yeah, I would eat at Pizza Hut or White Castle or something here and there. On the weekends,
Mhm.
we went to Burritoville and got steak burritos and things like that. But again, then throughout the week, I'm eating things that mom would make, and it wasn't like everything was deep fried. I mean, some things were. Everything wasn't deep fried in oil. There was always salads. There was always vegetables. There was always some beneficial things that we're eating. It just seems like now everyone's constantly eating bad, especially young kids. It's like my son goes out to eat
Mhm.
probably 4 times a week. Oh yeah, we stopped and got this after school. Now he is being a little bit more health conscious, what he thinks is health conscious. I keep throwing things in like that's not really super healthy. I'm just eating lunch meat sandwiches, so it's like, yeah, it's ham and salami and cheese on bread, and white bread.
White bread.
That's
Oh.
not. Then he's going to the gym, and then he's working out like a fiend. But
Well,
he's
also,
17.
right, I was going to say when you're young, you don't, I mean, I don't know.
He's
Like
not
you
thinking
think
about
you're
having a heart attack at
right.
40.
You're
Yeah.
not thinking of heart attacks at 40. You're invincible. I used to get on the back of a motorcycle without a helmet. my first boyfriend had a motorcycle, and my dad would do the sign of the cross and tell me to put that helmet on. And I'd get on and whip the helmet off and let my hair fly in the breeze. And, it's like, I wasn't going to, nothing was going to happen to me. It's kind of that attitude when you're young, and I had it. And even in my 20s, like I've said a million times, I didn't really think about my health. But when you learn all the stuff and like, gosh, now if I could go back, I would have started eating this way earlier. I would have thought about my health. I would have thought about this. But the good news is we've already talked about this. It's reversible. So this isn't a done deal. We've all done damage. I did damage to my body for 45 years before I changed my eating habits. It's reversible. I've been eating this way for almost 10 years now. I think I'm on the path to pretty good health, I think, in my later years. I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to have a stroke. I don't want to get Alzheimer's. Maybe I will. I don't know. I want to give my body the best chance that I can, that I can be around, and not only, be around on 10 pills with, hobbling around. I want to be vibrant and move and be able to live my golden years feeling good.
And it's doable. I mean, that's part of our whole thing and that's what I didn't kind of buy into initially. It's like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to give up all that stuff? How am I going to
Mm-hmm.
cook this way? How can I do that? It is so doable. Like I am the last person, and you said it too. I'm the last person who ever thought I'd be doing this. And it's funny because when I do talk to people, I've interviewed a couple of people for the podcast this week, and that seems to be kind of the same thing. It's like, I never thought I'd be doing this, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
these are success stories because you realize you can do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so many people feel like they're in a hole thinking like, well, I'm big, I'll just cut back. I'll take I'll take it upon myself to try to do this. And I always knew I can't do that. I've tried taking it upon myself. I need something to help me along. I need to kind of relearn everything that I've learned up until this point, because
Yeah.
you're always taught that, yeah, eating more fish is going to be healthy, eating leaner meats and lean lunch meats and things, but you don't realize what's going into this stuff until you start learning about it. But in the end, once you realize I can do this, it is doable. It does give you hope. It does, you do see the weight coming off. You do see cooking different and learning more things. And I'm learning things all the time. I mean, constantly, even things, again, just looking at this chart showing almonds, it's like, geez, I was
Right.
eating
You
almonds the other
forget.
day. We got like a snack mix of nuts, and it's like, man, how many almonds did I pick out of that mix?
You're
In the
breaking
end,
into a sweat as I'm reading off the calories.
I gotta hit those peanuts harder next time. But in the end,
Yeah.
you do learn, and you realize it is doable. And just like anything, I mean, there is some effort to be put in, but it's the results. And sometimes things are a struggle. And like I said, I mean, I still struggle with things, and I'm still looking to lose weight as I go.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it's like you get more mindful of things, and it does come easier. It does come more natural. And going back to when I started, like I said, I was thinking, how can I ever do this? Now it's something I don't even,
Yeah.
really think twice about. I'm not grabbing the oil all the time. I'm not loading everything with cheese. I'm not, buying ground beef and throwing that into everything. It's like, it just comes naturally that all these other things are happening, rather than those things that I was so used to. And you just get used to it.
Yeah, it is scary at first. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, I cooked with meat and oil, and cheese every meal. I had a blog that was all of our family recipes loaded with meat, oil, and cheese. And I loved the food. I was pushing it out there into the world. This is 10 years ago. And I still, I love those I still love the memories of all the food, my grandmother, my aunts, my uncles, everybody, the family. Yeah, it's all great. Could we have had all of that without all those animal products and food and fat? Yeah, because it's not really about that. That's what we're trying to do. We're recreating all that. We want the taste and the textures and the flavors and the love and the family. We want all that. Of course we do. We are not on a diet of twigs and berries over here. For Phill and I, especially, this food has to taste good. This is not sustainable unless we are getting all those hit, the tacos, the pasta, the pizza, we need to be eating that food. So we are working hard to create this food. As you guys can see, if you're part of our Facebook group, our meal plans that come out, we just did a fast food remake. So we're doing like really fun things that we crave, but we're making them with all plants because it was scary when I first went. I was like, am I really doing this? I couldn't imagine giving up all that stuff. So I know for many of you who are probably listening, thinking this is extreme way of eating, I could never give up all that stuff. Try to think of it not as giving up, because that's the mentality I had. That is restrictive. How am I going to ever live without? How am I going to give up cheese? I still hear that all the time. You're not giving up anything because we're still having all those flavors. Try our nacho crema. You won't believe it. It's a cheese sauce. I just made the pepper jack cheese this week. Try our pepper jack. It is delicious. It hits all those things that you want to hit with quote unquote cheese. You're not craving cow's cheese and cow's milk dairy. You're craving the taste. So just take a breath, open yourself up and try it. Phill and I were scared too. Like I almost said scared shitless. Can we swear on this thing? I was scared shitless. Yes, we can. It's ours. I don't swear often. I'm going to swear. I was scared shitless. Okay, so don't forget to tune in next week. We are going to pick up right where we left off with our conversation. We have a little bit more to say about oil, and then we get into lots more. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. It really helps us out. It's free. It takes one click, and you'll never miss an episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.